G.K. Chesterton on journalism and other quotes. I came across this quotes on from G.K. Chesterton. This one on journalism was just found, just is absolutely foundational. I loved it. All right, so he says this is from his writings, "The Ball and the Cross," a book I have yet to read. I'm familiar with G.K. Chesterton. I got he's got a reader. I got someplace on my Kindle. Uh, the stuff that written back then is a little bit tough. Actually, it's tough for me to read. I think it started to change right around C.S. Lewis's time, where it's a little bit easier to read. But the early 20th century stuff from which he had written is a little bit, it's a challenge. No other way around that. And it's interesting because you read like Frederick Bastiat, who's French, and I think he had written in well before G.K. Chesterton. For some reason, I can understand that writing better, probably because of translations in the latter part of probably a later part of the 20th century. It's just easier to read. Where the earlier part of the 20th century, man, that stuff is tough. That old English and older English stuff is just tough to read. But anyway, it's one of the great weaknesses of journalism as a picture of our modern existence, that it must be a picture made entirely of exceptions. Dog bites man? No. Man bites dog. If it bleeds, it leads. We announce on the flaring posters that a man has fallen off a scaffolding. We do not announce on flaring posters that a man has not fallen off a scaffolding. Yet this latter fact is fundamentally more exciting, as indicating that the moving tower of terror and mystery, a man, is still abroad upon the earth. That the man has not fallen off a scaffolding is really more sensational, and it is also some 1,000 times more common. But journalism cannot reasonably be expected thus to insist on the permanent miracles. Busy editors cannot be expected to put out on their posters, Mr. Winkleson still safe, or Mr. Jones of Worthing not dead yet. They cannot announce the happiness of mankind at all. They cannot describe all the forks that are not stolen or the marriages that are not judiciously dissolved. Hence, the complex picture they give of life is of necessitary fallaciousness. They can only represent what is unusual. However democratic they may be, they are only concerned with the minority. Oh, man, that is such a great quote. They can only represent what is unusual. You can't say it any other way. That's absolutely right on, GK. And that's the thing about journalism. It's there to cause your fear. Why do you think the Weather Channel is always stoking the fears of weather patterns? Why do you think? Because that's how people watch. If it's just a beautiful day out there in North Georgia, no one's going to watch. Oh my goodness, look at this. And climate change is perfect to stoke the fear, to get you to watch more. We have another hurricane because of climate change. Oh no. It'll never go away. It'll never go away. It never will. There's always something to be scared about, even how silly and remote and the minority that it is. It'll always be there because that's what we like for some reason. My wife always, she goes, basically we talk about this all the time. There's 1 in 8,000 million kids get abducted, but I don't want that kid to be my kid. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Well, one kid said that and it did happen, or one mom said that it did happen. I said, yeah, but it's just, no matter what you do, you're always going to be fearful, and the journalism is always going to play on that fear for sure. But the funny thing is, if they didn't report that 1 in 8 million kids being abducted, no one would be scared of it, because the only reason they're scared is because they know that happened to somebody. They would not be scared of it if they did not know. It's kind of like a shark attack. Let's just say there's a squid attack, but we don't know about it because it doesn't have the same kind of menace. So maybe a squid's attack, we don't hear about it, so it's not anything to be worried about. Only if it's worried about it, if we hear about it, even if it's such a tiny percentage of it happening. GK, he's a Christian apologist, by the way. The church always seems to be behind the times, when in reality is beyond the times. Christianity is always out of fashion because it's always sane, and all fashions are mild insanities. When Italy is mad on art, the church seems too puritanical. When England is mad on puritanism, the church seems too artistic. When you quarrel with us now, you class us with kingship and despotism. When he quarreled with us first, it was because we would not accept the divine despotism of Henry VIII. The church always seems to be behind the times, when in reality is beyond the times. It is waiting till the last fad shall have seen this last summer. It keeps the key of permanent virtue. For the world of science and evolution is far more nameless and elusive and like a dream than the world of poetry and religion, since in the latter, images and ideas remain themselves eternally,
Well, it's the whole idea of evolution that identities melt into each other as they do into a nightmare. She was not afraid, at least, she was not in the least afraid of loneliness because she was not afraid of devils. I think they were afraid of her. Somehow one can never manage to be an atheist. I got to read this book. I'm not familiar with it. I want to be taken to a madhouse, said Turnbull distinctly, giving the direction with a sort of precision. I want to go back to exactly the same lunatic asylum from which I came. Why? Asked the unknown. Because I want a little sane and wholesome society, he answered. Is that story really true? He asked. Oh, no, said Michael airily. It is a parable. It is a parable of you and all your rationalists. You begin by breaking up the cross, but you end up breaking up the habitable world. But you end by breaking up the habitable world. When we belong to the church, we belong to something which is outside all of us, which is outside everything you talk about, outside the cardinals and the Pope. They belong to it, but it does not belong to them. If we all fell dead suddenly, the church would still somehow exist in God. Confound it all. Don't you see that I'm more sure of its existence than I am my own? We'll just read one more. The cross cannot be defeated, for it is defeat. Oh, man, the cross cannot be defeated because it is defeat. The flying ship of Professor Lucifer. Just so many stuff. I'll put a link to show us. I just GK. Lucifer sang through the skies like a silver arrow, the bleak white steel of it gleaming in the bleak blue emptiness of the evening. You can't be angry with bad men, but a good man in the wrong, why one thirsts for his blood. Oh, that's a great quote. You can't be angry with bad men, but a good man in the wrong, we thirst for his blood. Oh, that's so true. All right, just thought I'd share that with you. All right, we'll see you.